Wow, wow, wow. 2025 has been such a very interesting year for me. My nose has evolved. I went to Scent Explore recently. Even though my collection has grown, it all comes down to 7 fragrances that I appreciate a lot more than a lot of the other ones in my collection. And you really want to stick to the end of this video because number 1 surprised even me. Let's get into it. The fragrance that occupies the 7th spot here is French Defense. I was just randomly shopping for fragrances and I actually saw the bottles. I thought they looked pretty cool and I did like the chest pieces on top of them. And as part of the set that I bought, it comes with this little really cool holders right there. And I just set my 7.5 ml fragrance in there. This fragrance for me was just love at first sniff. It's a perfectly well blended cherry fragrance with a lot of amber undertones and some woods which are very, very polished. It's not too loud, very controlled, very balanced, and I have excellent performance from this fragrance. In the cold weather, I'm looking for something that cuts through the cold and also lasts all day because I don't always feel like reapplying fragrance. I think this one right here is perfect. The scent profile is beautiful, the stain power is great, but for me, it's not as good as the number 1 in this video, and you would find out exactly why that is. On the 6th spot here, we have Gris Charnel Extrait by BDK. Gris Charnel is one of those fragrances that really sings off your skin. The first time I smelled this fragrance, I was so blown away. I initially purchased the EDP, and the first time I sprayed it, immediately got compliments. If you like woody fragrances with a twist, I think you would enjoy the Gris Charnel fragrances. This one leans a little bit darker than the original Gris Charnel, but it is super sexy. You get cardamom, fig, black tea, iris, and some cranberry sandalwood as some of the notes in this fragrance, and it's blended to perfection. If I had to describe this fragrance in one word, I would say it's sophisticated. And this really travels very beautifully in the air, especially for this time of year where it's cold outside. I think this fragrance is a 10 out of 10. I don't think anybody will be disappointed with this fragrance because you get good longevity. For me, this was one of those discoveries that really changed the way I think about iris fragrances. I highly recommend you guys check this out because this is in this list for a very good reason. Narcotic Delight from Initio. I very rarely get first impressions from a fragrance where I'm like, whoa, I need to have that immediately. I did that with this fragrance right here. The very first time I smelled this, I was just blown away by how great this fragrance smelled. You do have that boozy accord from the cognac in here. You get a lot of sweetness from this fragrance, from a lot of the base elements like tonka bean and vanilla, and I think this is beautiful stuff. That cherry note that you have in here, guys, photorealistic. The best cherry fragrance in my collection. I prefer this over Caspian Cherry and even Mind Games French Defense. And I like Mind Games French Defense a lot as a date night scent, but for me, this one does it a little bit better than that fragrance. Coming up on the 4th spot here is one of my favorite fragrances, and this comes from a fragrance house that releases back-to-back hits. Le Parfum. I prefer this over Le Male Elixir, over Le Male Elixir Absolu. The fragrance really does take you through this journey where it starts off sweet and you're reminded of a lot of the other Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances, and then you get this burst of spices which is very unexpected, and I think that is done to perfection because it never gets overwhelming. It stays very sweet, very controlled, powdery, and you get that powderiness from the iris in this fragrance, which I think is done to perfection. I enjoy this a lot. I wear this to the gym, to the office. This earns its spot in this list. On the 3rd spot here, we're starting to get into serious territory. I mean, grown-up stuff. And this is Naxos from Sergio. It's one of the fragrances that makes you feel and smell very rich. I know some people online have compared this to smelling like a toilet cleaner, but I respectfully have to disagree. With this, you have a tobacco fragrance, well done with honey, which really makes that tobacco not get very animalic and nasty. And really where you want to appreciate this fragrance and you want to experience the journey that this fragrance will take you on is on skin. This is probably one of the first fragrances where I actually got to experience the true evolution of the fragrance on my skin. It starts off very bright, citrusy, clean, and then you get into that mid of the fragrance, which just has that honey, and then it dries down to a very sensual tobacco. You want to keep this for special occasions where you're very dressed up, and it really has earned its place as one of the top 3 fragrances in my collection. Second spot here, I might ruffle some feathers, but that's okay. And that's because the fragrance journey for everyone is a very subjective thing. And the fragrance on the second spot for me is Dior Homme Parfum. Wow. To me, this smells like it could be in the private collection fragrances that they have. It is just beautiful perfumery. You have buttery iris, creamy woods, leather in here as well, and you have some oud, rose. This to me is a 10 out of 10. What I have is the formulation from 2020. If you still have this in your collection, you're definitely gonna stand out. This fragrance has more character and it's more interesting compared to the new Dior Homme Parfum. It doesn't project on my skin as much as some of the other fragrances in my collection, but I love the scent. This has truly earned its place on the second spot in this list. My number 1 or my number 2 fragrances in this list can easily be switched, but I have to stand on business. This fragrance truly has earned its spot as the best fragrance for me this year. And this is New York by Fueguilla. This was done in collaboration with Gabriela Hearst. All natural ingredients, handpicked, selected meticulously by Julian Bedell, who is the perfumer. This fragrance smells so good. First time I sprayed this, guys, compliment. If I were to be placed on an island and I only had to take one fragrance, it would be this one right here. It reminds me a lot of the Christmas time in New York. It's a true parfum concentration. Like all the other fragrances from this fragrance house, you just have to find which one fits your personality more. For me, it is this fragrance, and that's why it's on the first spot in this list. This is beautiful stuff. And now I'm about to show you how I get layered. Welcome to the Layered Zone. On today's segment of Let's Get Layered, I'll be featuring 2 fragrances that I believe complement each other super well, and they're perfect for date nights. And this is Gris Charnel by BDK and Narcotic Delight from Initial. And there you have it, guys. Those are the 7 top fragrances in my collection this year, 2025. If you enjoy more fragrance reviews like this, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and also hit that bell notification button. That way you're made aware whenever I drop a new video here on YouTube. Until next time, my fellow novelist, fragrance is beautiful stuff. Peace.